Hello everyone, my name is Lua Lucky and today I'll be showing you how to set up my concert Twitch overlay version 1.0.0. This is a Twitch overlay that allows your audience to trigger these little Wotagei animations. You can customize the image of the person, the image of the light sticks. There'll also be a little person that pops up every time someone subscribes and confetti that falls. There'll be this little explosion of bits when someone gives bits. And of course, any of these features can be disabled or enabled or whatever. There's a ton of customization options, and that's the stuff that we're going to be going through today, along with how to actually connect it to your Twitch. So first things first, you go to lualucky.itch.io/concert-overlay. That'll take you to the page for this overlay. Scroll past the install instructions. We don't need any of that. That's the stuff I'm going to be explaining to you right now. And download the version you need. Setup instructions is the same thing as the text that's right up above here. Once you've downloaded it, you can unzip it, and inside you'll see all the files we need. Again, the README is just the install instructions. Once again, just in case you lost them. The concertoverlay.exe is the actual overlay, but first, we need to change the settings. And these settings are deep within these files. We go to concertoverlay_data, streaming assets, and then UserSettings.json. These images here are just here to be used as templates for if you want to change the images that are within the overlay, but we need to change UserSettings.json. So when you open it up, you're just gonna see a bunch of text, and it's really not gonna make any sense. And I don't blame you. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. So I recommend going to codebeautify.org/online JSON editor. That link is down there in the description. And that will give us a little bit better UI to change all of these settings. So here on this site, we're going to click Browse, and we're going to choose that UserSettings.json. And here on the left, this is going to be the raw text. On the right, this is the UI that's going to help us change these settings a lot easier and not accidentally mess up the formatting. The formatting is very important, and we don't want to mess with it too much. So first things first, let's actually connect this to our Twitch. So the most important, channel name. My channel's name is Lua V Lucky. This is just your Twitch username. I am an affiliate. If you're not an affiliate, keep this false or you're going to get an error. Access token, refresh token, and client ID. Now this is very important. Down here in the description, you're going to see a twitchtokengenerator.com link. Click that link and authorize it. And on that page, you're going to get an access token, refresh token, and client ID. And paste those values into here. Now, what that's going to do is that it's going to allow the overlay to read your chat, find out when you have a new subscription, and find out when someone's redeemed one of your rewards. So these are completely fake values, but I've just put them here so you can see kind of what it's going to look like. You really don't want to share these values around because people can have access to your account. Once you've inputted these values, you can open the concertoverlay.exe, and it will output an error if any of these values are no good. You can also then type !test in your chat, and if you're correctly connected to Twitch, you'll be able to see a little success image on the overlay screen. So I recommend doing that at this point. Everything from here on out, I'm going to be telling you how to customize the overlay. But really, all you have to do is input this information and you're good to go. So for instance here, I've opened the overlay without putting any data in, and it's just gonna yell at me. It's gonna say I don't have a channel name. It's gonna say I don't have a good access and whatever. I'm gonna reopen this now with all the correct settings. So here I've reopened it with the correct access token, refresh token, and client ID put in, and I have no errors. Fantastic. So let's say I want to test my connection. I can just type in !test. And it will say you are successfully connected to Twitch. Fantastic. Thank you so much, overlay. So first things first, like I said, you can change all of the images. So the audience member image, that's going to be this actual little person. The light stick is going to be the light stick that they're waving around. And these two bits burst images are going to be these little images that pop up when someone gives you bits. If you want to add your own custom image, you're going to put it here in the streaming assets folder. And you can name it whatever you want. You're just going to copy and paste that name into the fields in the user settings, okay? If in this case, if I wanted to use this exact image, I would copy and paste lightstick.png into lightstick.png. And I would just have to make sure that that lightstick.png photo is here in the streaming assets folder, and a reminder to use PNG because PNG has transparency. As far as the size of those images, make sure that they match the actual size of these here template images, or else things are going to get really weird. This audience section here is referring to the audience members that are constantly on the bottom of the screen. If you do not want these audience members here at the bottom of the screen, you can just uncheck that. Additionally, you have the option for the audience members to be randomly tinted colors so that they don't all look exactly the same. If you don't want that to happen, you can just uncheck it, but by default it's on, and I've given you these various colors, and using this UI you can actually just set the colors super easily. Very convenient. That's all for the audience section. So for bits, this part's a little bit complicated. The bits section allows you to change the settings for when someone donates bits. If you don't want anything to happen when someone donates bits, you can just uncheck enabled. You can set the minimum number of bits that someone has to donate in order for anything to happen. In this case, I have it set to 0. If someone gives any bits, there will be a little bits explosion on the screen. It'll be great. Increment is the number of bits someone has to give you more for the little bits burst to last longer. So the bits burst will last 0.5 seconds for every increment number of bits. So in this case, if someone were to give 100 bits and the increment was 50, then the bits burst would last 1 second. If you're a person who gets a lot of high bit donations, you might want to up this increment, or if you just want, any amount of bits, let's say like 30 bits, you want it to go on for like 15 seconds, then you'd set this increment to 1. Play around with that value a little bit using the test bits command that we'll talk about later. This subsection here is going to control what happens when someone subscribes to you. If you don't want anything to happen when someone subscribes to you, uncheck enabled. By default, what's going to happen is that a little person is going to come up from the bottom of the screen waving a banner, and there's going to be confetti that falls from the top of the screen. It's very cute. If you don't want any confetti, just uncheck confetti. You can also change the duration for how long the confetti falls. The default is 1 second. If you don't want a little person to come up from the bottom of the screen, let's say you just want the confetti but not the little person, you just uncheck banner. And then as far as what the banner says, if you check subber name, it will say blah 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 subscribed. If you uncheck subber name, it will say your username with a heart. That is just in case you don't want people with weird usernames, popping up on your screen, which is totally understandable. If you uncheck subber name, it will only show your username. If you check subber name, it will show their username. Now moves. This is the important part. Moves is what controls all of the little Wotagei animations. Each move has its own set of settings. So for each move, you can change what happens or how it's triggered. And for each move, you can just disable it if you don't want that move to be used at all. Just check enabled, false. If you just want the light sticks without the little person, uncheck has person. By default, every move that is not associated with a redeem can be triggered randomly by any emote. Not just your emotes, any emotes. So if someone puts an emote in chat, it will choose a random move to play that's not connected to a redeem. Okay, it's a little bit confusing. Definitely play around with it in your own chat before the stream. I understand that it's confusing. But let's say you do want it to be specifically triggered by a redeem. You would check is redeem, and you would copy and paste the exact name of your redeem into redeem name. Now, please, 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 only use letters and numbers and spaces in your redeem name. Otherwise, things might get a little weird. But for instance, one of my redeem names is called Wotagei Shake. And yeah, then, that's the name of the redeem. If someone redeems it, it'll pop up on stream. Very cute. And that's pretty much it. To actually get all of these values from this website, you just click download and replace your, it's going to give it a weird name, but you're going to have to replace that UserSettings.json in there. And then if you have the overlay open already, close it and reopen it. Just, double click concertoverlay.txt. Here now I want to try what happens when someone puts an emote in chat. So I'm just going to use my penlight emote. And there it is, a little Wotagei animation, randomly chosen. It's a random one. Here, I'm going to spam and give you a little bit of taste. And it will just randomly pick one from any of the moves that aren't for redeems, okay? There we go. Fantastic. So let's see what happens when when someone would give me 100 bits. I would type test bits and then the number 100. Fantastic. I'm gonna play little bits animation for 1 second. Here's to show you what I was talking about. This is if someone were to give me 1,000 bits. It's just gonna go on for a lot longer because for every 50 bits, it's gonna go on for another half second. So it's gonna go on for quite a long time. Okay, and last but not least, I'm gonna show you what happens when someone subscribes. Exclamation test sub. And there it is. Very, very cute, very cute. I hope this is enough customization options for you. So of course, the very last step of this process to actually put this into OBS, which is very, very simple. Just click add game capture. I'm gonna call it concert overlay. Okay. We're going to choose a specific capture window, and for that we're going to be choosing the concert overlay. And obviously it's a big gray box. That sucks. What you do is you click allow transparency. Whoa, that fixed all our problems. And of course uncheck capture cursor. And that's it! That's it. If it's not fitting to your window, then right click it and set transform fit to screen. And that'll fit it to your screen. That's all there is to it. Very, very, very simple. So thank you guys so much for joining me in this tutorial. I hope I've given you all the information you need. If you're still confused, please put that down in the comments and I will respond. And I can't wait to see what you guys do with this overlay. See ya.